Hi everyone. I wanted to make just a few comments on some of the remarks that were being made for the Senate voting on the coronavirus stimulus package. First, I just wanted to say that this took way too long to come about. And the excuses and some of the comments I heard during the hearing were outrageous. I'm starting to think that we need to get younger people in there, people that are serious about their job and aren't just going to pussyfoot around because they have loyalties to a side that's not conducive to America being free and having its liberties. I just think it's outrageous. It's a waste of time. And at the end of the day, as we ignore and turn our back on the very crisis that's been going on, the worse it gets. The more people suffer and the more that people are losing money. Like our businesses, our small businesses, or people who need to be working. So let's get to the first point that I remember being made. I actually was in the bathtub at the time because I had just got done working out. So when this person was speaking, I didn't quite catch who it was. But the first point he made, which I found disturbing, which is ridiculous and very hypocritical, was the printing of money. How the printing of money is going to lower the value of the dollar. It's not going to be good, and with our children, it's not going to be good for our children's children. And it's just bad to give away free money to people like this. Well, if you just want to stand on that idea alone, this guy has a point to an extent. But if you want to look at the facts surrounding that point, you're not going to have much of a leg to stand on. Because at the end of the day, the reason people are in this situation is because our government is corrupt. We have the left radical Democrats, CCP, and the swamp colluding and doing things they're not supposed to be doing that got us in this crisis to begin with. So when communist China uses COVID as biochemical warfare to weaken and attack countries so they can easily infiltrate, to take over at some point, I don't want to hear about the value of the dollar dropping. Because it's them, or maybe you guys, that got us in this situation, this crisis to begin with. Number two, quantitative easing has been used for a very long time. In fact, I thought that's exactly how you guys were going to fund all these immigrants you want to just have pour into our country, while at the same time schmoozing them with everything free, everything free, everything free. How is that any better than helping a country that you put in a crisis? It doesn't make any sense. But I understand how it makes sense to you, because the more immigrants that come into this country that you guys can schmooze with giving them everything for free, the more of an ability you have to recruit these very people, to enlarge your Antifa, your BLMs, whatever it is you want to call them, to be policing this country, abusing people's human rights, civil rights that are no longer going to exist anymore once you guys get rid of the police, if Biden was to be president. If you're so worried about the value of the dollar dropping, why don't you go over to CCP and say, hey, remember that COVID you dropped on our country? Well, you owe us for damages. You owe us trillions for that. Oh, remember all that intellectual property you guys are infiltrating and you guys are taking and doing things you're not supposed to be doing in our country? Oh, you owe us for that. There's damages. Why don't you go over to CCP and collect for us on behalf of us? Why don't you go over to the left radical states that have been misbudgeting their money for whatever self-interests they have, including the agenda of communism, terrorism they've unleashed on their own states? And the funding that they're doing for this corruption to stranglehold their state. Like Antifa, BLM, reforming laws in the back end they're not supposed to be reforming. All the money they put into paying these people to do their crimes, voter fraud, attacking businesses, attacking people, killing police officers. Why don't you go collect that money from those left radical states? That way, there won't have to be as much quantitative easing. And there'll be less likely that the dollar, the value of it, will go down. And there'll be less damage for our children and their children's children. When I hear people that work in our government like this, these politicians, it makes me sick. I think America, we need a clean house. We can't have these old fuddy-duddies, these, and I'm just going to say it, these satanic pedophiles, these globalists. They are so far from reality that they're too lazy to come together and admit why we're where we're at. And they have a responsibility and a hand in where we're at, a direct hand in it. Because when you conspire with communist China and the swamp, you're part of the very reason we're in the crisis that we're in. So I don't want to hear about no value of the dollar dropping. You don't give a damn about that. You're going to give unlimited free everything to immigrants, the very immigrants you want to have come into this country. So you'll have a larger Antifa, you'll have a larger army to wage at war on the citizens, to control them, to keep them where you want to keep them, and to carry out your agenda, your crimes, like they did with Antifa and BLM. The very politicians who talk like this, you don't belong in to have that position. The only people that have been getting free money left and right are these left radical Democrats. These corrupt politicians. They're the weakest, they're the weakest, the laziest, the most unreliable, the biggest liars, the biggest criminals. Why are you working in our government? I think that's what we need to ask ourselves. Because from what we see, you don't have a sense of value on anything tangible, let alone the value of the dollar. With everything that you guys are causing that brought us to the crisis we're in today, and I have to get attacked when I leave the house and stalked because you have organized religion that's actually Satanism that attacks people like Antifa, BLM attacks people, that billionaires pay to attack people, like Scientology pays to attack people like me because I believe in Jesus Christ. Because I won't join them. I've been told I have to join them or else it's going to continue. You know, the people who are the most corrupt are the biggest weaklings and the biggest cowards, like Soros. CCP. Y'all make me sick. You guys, anyways, I just want to make that point, guys. The hypocrisy, the BS. These people, a lot of these Democrat senators, so lazy, so corrupt. Can't even do their job. They want to give free money to the immigrants so the immigrants can carry out their criminality. They can schmooze the immigrants, but they can't help the very people they just launched an attack on, conspired to launch an attack on, with communist China in the swamp. They think, well, that's stupid. What a shame. Anyways, I'm glad that there's been some sort of a resolution, and I just wanted to make just a couple of remarks on the Senate voting on the coronavirus stimulus package today. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next video in a little bit. Bye everyone. Be good to each other.